Apple's week of Mac announcements continues, and this one's exciting. I think you can see the excitement on my face. Apple finally redesigned the Mac Mini, and it looks absolutely fantastic. They also announced two versions of it, one with an M4 chip, one with an M4 Pro chip, and they even gave it some surprise updates that were not leaked or rumored anywhere, including Thunderbolt 5 connectivity. This is the first Mac ever with Thunderbolt 5, and that is going to be a huge boost to the bandwidth that this Mac can provide, and it could hint at some future product announcements. So let me tell you everything you need to know about this new M4 Mac Mini, and let's just look at that beautiful design once again. So you can see that this Mac Mini is a 5x5 design, and it is much smaller than the previous Mac Mini. Apple says it's about half the size of that older version. And you can even see like the way it's architected. It is very compact. There's no space wasted in that internal design. They got a whole new thermal design for this. Apparently, even with this small size, with the efficiency of the M4 and M4 Pro chip, it's going to be able to be cooled off properly in that small Mac Mini design, which is great. Another thing you'll notice is on the front, there are, yes, two USB-C ports and a headphone jack. On the back, you now have either 3 Thunderbolt ports. Those could be either Thunderbolt 4, depending on if you're getting the M4 version, or, like I said, Thunderbolt 5 if you're getting that M4 Pro version. There's still an HDMI port, there's an Ethernet port, you obviously have the power cord, and yeah, that is the death of USB-A on the Mac Mini, but I'll take it for all those nice USB-C ports, and with front ports. I love that design feature on the Mac Studio. In fact, when you look at this new design for the Mac Mini, despite its really small size, it is basically the design of a really shrunken down Mac Studio. And I think that looks really, really nice. And the reason why this design is so exciting is because you can fit this Mac Mini into a lot of places based on its size. And the other exciting thing is it's not sacrificing on power here. It is still coming with either on the base model an M4 chip, and then the really exciting one to me is that this is the first time we are now seeing the M4 Pro chip in any product. And that M4 Pro Mac Mini can be configured with a 14-core CPU with 10 high-performance cores. And then the GPU can be up to 20 cores. And then even for like maxing out memory and stuff like that, you're getting a huge boost over that older M2 Pro model because that maxed out at 32 gigabytes of memory. The M4 Pro Mac Mini can go up to 64 gigabytes of memory. So despite how small this is, like a 5x5 little desktop Mac, it can be configured up to some really powerful specs here. And I'm really interested to try out that M4 Pro version to see if there's like any thermal throttling in that small design or if that thing can just handle it. And like I pointed out before, that M4 Pro version on the back has 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports. Now, the reason why I'm excited about that is because Thunderbolt 5 offers up to 120 gigabits per second of bandwidth, while Thunderbolt 4 offers up to 40 gigabits per second of bandwidth. So not only can you connect faster accessories like external drives and all that stuff, what this really allows Apple to do is now build out a better external monitor. There was no new external monitor announcements with this Mac Studio, but because they have Thunderbolt 5 now, one of the limitations of Thunderbolt 4 is I don't think they could really do an Apple Studio display at 6K at 120 hertz. That's something that has been rumored for a while now. Obviously, Apple has ProMotion displays on their MacBook Pros, and people have been wondering, when are they going to bring this technology to an external display? When are we going to get a Mac that can drive a really high resolution display at a fast refresh rate? And I think Thunderbolt 5 now allows them to do this. They can now build out that display. Before the Thunderbolt 4 spec, it was just kind of questionable if they could even do that. But now that we have Thunderbolt 5 officially arriving in their first product, I think this is the year we can finally see a redesigned display. And I'm almost wondering, is that going to be one of the product announcements tomorrow, or are we going to have to wait until later, maybe when they announce the M4 Ultra, Mac Studio, and Mac Pro around WWDC? Don't know, but that's one of the things I'm really excited about this Mac Mini announcement. It just proves that, yeah, Thunderbolt 5 is here. It's going to be a huge upgrade in terms of the bandwidth that this can push out to external connections. 120 gigabits per second on a port? That is amazing. But yeah, in terms of other like desktop features, that's it, right? Like a Mac Mini is a desktop computer. It's, you know, kind of like the same philosophy as the old one. This time it's just smaller. I like the port selection on it, and it looks really cool. But what about the value of this Mac? This is another exciting thing with M4 that we talked about yesterday in the iMac video. And this might be the best valued Mac, period, because the base model M4 Mac Mini starts at $599. And for that $599 price point, you get a very powerful M4 chip for the price, right? And you also get 16 gigabytes of memory as standard. We saw that with the iMac yesterday. It was kind of questionable. Will that also come to the lowest price Mac Mini? And if it does, will Apple raise the prices there? And no, they didn't. The Mac Mini still starts at $599 for regular customers. And then if you're like a student, it's just $500 for that Mac. M4 chip, 16 gigabytes of memory. That is a steal. Like if you are just starting out, you don't have a lot of money, you want to do something creative, you want to edit videos, edit photos, you want to do something on social media, you want to develop code, all this stuff, right? You want to work with AI. One of the hallmark features of the M4 chip is the neural engine, how capable it is with its AI capabilities, with Apple Intelligence, and also development for AI, right? That is such a great computer to give to someone. You can give this to so many different types of people. You can even just give it to someone like doing simple stuff in an office, right? 16 gigabytes of memory, M4 chip. That's going to be able to handle so many different workloads at such a low price point. And, you know, with the M series chip, Apple kind of redefined the value of their lower end Mac lineup. But now I feel like with M4, they are redefining it even further. This is such a good value. And I'm sorry for gushing about this product. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but just based on these specs, based on the previous experience I've had with Mac Minis, this just seems like a really good value. And I'm so happy Apple is now giving us 16 gigabytes of memory as standard. I feel like that's going to address a lot of the complaints around this computer. All right, buying advice. Which one should you buy? Well, like I said, that base model M4 Mac Mini looks like a really good deal. 16 gigabytes of memory, $599. M4 chip, that's going to be able to handle most users' tasks, even some professional level tasks. Like, do not underestimate the M4 chip with 16 gigabytes of memory. It is very efficient. In terms of storage, 256 for a desktop, it's low, right? We already talked about that. But like I said, you can either upgrade that storage, maybe spend $200 more to get 512 gigabytes, or if you really are on a budget, just get an external SSD, plug it in the back, forget about it, and offload your massive file sizes if you're working like video or something like that. Just edit directly on that drive. You maybe might lose out on a little bit of speed, but with Thunderbolt, I mean, those drives are almost as fast as like the internal drives. With Thunderbolt 5 drives coming out, I don't even know. I feel like you could probably get drives that are even faster than the internal drives inside of this new Mac Mini. Of course, if you want to spec it out even higher, you have that option, right? You can go up to configurations of 24 gigabytes of memory, or all the way on the M4 chip up to 32 gigabytes of memory. So even on that base level M4 chip, if you don't need something like a really powerful GPU, where I think is where the M4 Pro is really going to excel, this is a really good option, right? You have options here where you can build this out from the low end to the middle end on the Mac Mini. And even with storage like that, you can configure it up to 2 terabytes. But again, look around for external drives. What about M4 Pro? Should you step up to M4 Pro? Well, maybe, right? It seems like a really good value, especially when you look at Apple's desktop lineup. I don't think I'd buy a Mac Studio or a Mac Pro right now, considering they're still on the M2 chipset, right? And that was the Mac Mini up until today. That was still on M2. So this is actually a pretty big upgrade, even coming from that old Mac Mini, because it skipped M3. So M4 Pro, it looks like a pretty decent chip. The first base version does only come with a 12-core CPU. You can spend $200 more to upgrade it to a 14-core CPU, and that actually might be worth it. Usually with Apple CPU upgrades, sometimes they're not worth it. But with this M4 Pro, that jumps up from 8 performance cores to up to 10 performance cores on CPU. So that sounds like it's actually going to make quite a difference in your CPU workload. So if you are someone that needs a really powerful CPU, that upgrade might actually be worth it. And you also get a beefier GPU on top of that. It moves from a 16-core GPU to a 20-core GPU. In terms of memory, again, this is an area where I go, 24 gigabytes of memory, that seems like a really good spec. Even 16 gigabytes of memory would have been good on this, but now that it's 24, you get a little bit of extra breathing room as well. So I'm not sure how many people really need to step up to the 48 gigabyte option or all the way up to 64 gigabytes. Obviously, there's some people that need a lot of memory, and if you're one of those people, you probably know already, right? You don't need my advice, but 24 gigabytes, really good starting configuration there. But yeah, if you want to spec this out, you can. Storage, right? At least this one comes with 512 gigabytes of storage. My advice remains for the external SSD on this model as well. But hey, if you want to upgrade this Mac Mini all the way up to 8 terabytes of storage, that's the first time ever they're allowing that much storage on a Mac Mini, you can. And what I'm noticing about this M2 Pro chip is that Apple is maxing out things like memory and storage to higher places where they used to be exclusive to just the Max chips on these new Apple Silicon Macs. And I'm wondering when we see this MacBook Pro announcement, probably tomorrow, I feel like we're gonna get the option to go up to like 16 terabytes of storage on those laptops. And my wallet is not prepared for that. I'm telling you that right now. But my advice is basically see how much power you need, right? There's options across the lineup here. And if you're just starting out, I'm telling you that base model M4 Mac Mini is going to be such a good value. And if you're already at the higher end, you know you need more power, that M4 Pro version also looks like a ridiculously good value. So you can tell I'm pumped for the Mac Mini. It's really exciting. I love this new design. Obviously, I haven't tested it yet, so if you want even more concrete information after the fact when I review it, you can wait for that review. They release on November 8th, so shortly after that, I should have some more details about the Mac Mini. They're up for pre-order now, though, so if you want to buy it, I just wanted to give you some buying advice right away because, yeah, you can order it now. Ships on November 8th. And we have a new Mac Mini finally. So hopefully you found this video helpful. I'm sorry if I was a little too enthusiastic and rambling a bit, but I'm excited about this announcement. If you liked it, please give me a like. If you want to see more, including the full review, make sure you're subscribed. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.